There we go. And we'll send this recording to you in a follow-up email tomorrow, and it will be available for you on Lightful Academy too. So today's workshop is our digital channel review. In this, we'll be doing a live website review and also a live social media page review. Really, really fun session. So let me just share a bit about the agenda so you know what to expect. So we'll begin by introducing different digital channels. So we're talking, as I said, about websites and social media today, but we'll share first of all some best practices. We'll look at how you can use websites and social media channels to strategically reach your audiences. Then we will go into those best practices in detail, and we want to hear from you too whilst you're on the call to get your advice and your recommendations as well. So be ready to share a little later on. After that, we'll cover social media best practices before heading over to our live review. And at that point, we'll ask you to share links to your website or your social media page that you'd like us to review live during the workshop. So do get those ready to share later on. And then finally, we'll set you the task of completing your own audit and share some next steps. If you have any questions as we go through the session today, please do just let us know. You can type them in the chat or raise your Zoom hand and come off mute. We really want to hear from you throughout today's session. And you might be wondering, who am I? So I am Sabina. I'm one of your digital communication coaches. I'm here on the team to help you in these live sessions, in your one-to-one coaching calls, and by developing your e-learning content on Lightful Academy. And my background is in the non-profit sector. I worked for 12 years at Europe's largest conservation charity, the National Trust, in roles covering website optimization, social media. So lots of experiences sharing best practices and helping to really optimize your pages. It's not just me on the call though, I'm also joined by Pilar, so let me hand to her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Sabina. I'm Pilar. I'm also a digital communications coach here at Lightful. My background is in digital marketing and communications. I have lots of experience, and I'll be sharing some of that as well because I've had the opportunity to build websites, to review websites, to do website content as well as social media content. So we will be talking about that a bit more later. Back to you, Sabina.
Thank you. So as you can see on your screen now, we've got 3 learning outcomes for today's session. So we hope that by the end of this hour together, you'll be able to decide which digital channels your organization should use. I know lots of people think they need to be on every single social media page, but that isn't always the case, and we'll dive into that later on. You'll also be able to identify key features that make nonprofit websites and social media pages really effective. And you'll be able to plan to implement some quick wins and conduct your own audit. So let's get into it. We're going to start with a quick icebreaker asking you, what digital channels does your organization currently use? So we'd love for you to share them by typing in the chat to let us know. Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you on TikTok? Are you on LinkedIn? Do you have a website? Anything else? Any other digital channels that you're using? So please do post those in the chat, or if you would like to come off of mute and share aloud, we would love to hear from you that way. So who is going to kick off our discussion by letting us know? Great, we can see in the chat some comments coming through already. Midhat says Facebook and YouTube. Fabulous, great to know. And then Adriana says Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, their website, and MailChimp. Fabulous. MailChimp, for anyone who isn't familiar with, that is an email marketing platform. A really good one, actually. So great to know. Rana, I hope you've said that name correctly. Would you like to share? I can see you've raised your hand.
Hello, I'm Rana Bitat from Space of Peace organization. Yeah, we have a page, Facebook, on Facebook, Instagram, and website, and from a new LinkedIn.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
great.
you
Thank you
very
that you've
much.
got a new LinkedIn
Okay,
as well. Fab. Thank
thank
you.
you.
And Fawad, I can see you've got your hand raised. Would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Fadila from Teach for Afghanistan, as Sana mentioned before. So our organization used digital channels like YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, website, and LinkedIn page. So these are the digital channels that we have used.
Brilliant. Thank you. Sounds like you're across quite a lot of channels there. That's really great to hear. Wonderful. And some familiar channels are coming through in the chat too from everybody else on the call who's typing in the chat. So I can see we've got LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube coming through quite a few times. Website, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube silently. That's interesting. Let's see. TikTok has come through a few times. YouTube seems really popular with many of you as well. Just having a scroll through all of these brilliant messages. Thank you everybody for sharing. Yeah, you guys are really, really busy, aren't you, on your different digital channels? So that's really useful to know. Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to ask you another question now. I'm going to launch a poll with 2 questions on it. So let me just get that up onto your screens. And it's going to be asking, how confident are you feeling about using all of those different digital channels that you've just been sharing with us? And do your different pages, your website and your social media pages, do they help you to achieve your organization's goals? So if you could take a moment to vote in those polls to let us know. It'd be really interesting to get a pulse check from everybody on the call now so that we can help you best during today's workshop. Let's see, let's take a look at these results. Brilliant. I can see confidence. It's kind of middle to the upper end of the scale, which is lovely to see such strong confidence already. Hopefully by the end of this workshop, you'll be feeling even more confident with some more quick wins that you can apply in your work. And in terms of goals, looks like most people are saying that they are somewhat helping you to achieve your goals, but could perhaps be a bit more effective. A few of you are saying, yes, they do help you to achieve your goals, which is lovely to see. Brilliant. Thank you, everybody, for answering all of my questions. Let's move on. I'll leave the poll live just in case anyone hasn't had a chance to vote in it then. So this is my last question for now, but I would love to ask you, what do you think makes a good website? So quick fire in the chat again, or feel free to come off of mute. Anything that comes to mind about what makes a website good, what makes it effective? Is it something about how it looks or how it behaves? There's a couple of examples of different homepages on your screens now to warm you up. But maybe have a think about when you last had a good experience with a website. What was it that you liked about it? So please do share in the chat, or again, come off of mute and let us know what you think makes a website good. Reverse says usability, short text, more visuals. Yeah, really important points there. Usability is so important. We want to make sure everything is functioning nice and easy and smoothly so everybody has a good experience. Keeping your text nice and short and sharp is going to be really helpful for people to be able to understand and digest the information on your website. And visuals are so important for that storytelling. And Remy agrees, they say picture stories. They were pictures, say 1,000 words, and it's so important to tell our stories through those visuals. Midhat says good management and smart design. I do really agree with that too. You want your design of your website to kind of flow and lead people on a journey, so that's really important too. Francis says it should be responsive, have good copy, clear problem statement and call to action. Yeah, such an important point there. You'll want to showcase on your website what is the problem that your nonprofit, your organization is solving. Let's see, there's loads of comments coming through now. Got stories, impact figures. Impact figures are so important to show and build trust in your organization. Figures and design, credibility. Yeah, websites are a really credible source of information. People really trust them. Esther says minimal or no jargon, easy to navigate, one that takes people on a journey. Each page is connected. That's so important. You want that onward journey from each page to keep people on your website, but also to help optimize your website for search engines. Let's see what else we have coming through in the chat. Story, consistent updates. Yeah, we want to let people know about the work that you're doing. Amazing. You guys are all website pros, I can tell from all of these comments that are coming through. So it sounds like we all have a really good understanding of what needs to happen on a website to make them welcoming and engaging places for our audience. But maybe let's take a look at some further steps that you could take to take your websites to the next level. So it's time to dive into our website best practices. And your website is often the first place that people will go to when they want to learn about your organization. So it needs to work hard for you. An effective website doesn't just look professional, it helps you to reach and engage your audience by providing content that is clear and relevant and easy to find. You can think of it as your organization's digital home. It should tell your story and highlight your impact and really guide visitors towards taking meaningful actions, whether that is donating or signing up for a newsletter or simply learning more. Every element, from design to content, really needs to serve your audience and your mission. So, something we do get asked from time to time is, why should you invest time in your website? Well, for most people, it is the first stop they will go to when they want to learn about your organisation. And that includes potential funders or supporters or donors or volunteers or service users. They all go and check out your website. So a well-designed website really helps to build trust by showing that your organisation is credible and transparent and professional. It also gives you a platform to share the key information that people are looking for, whether they're looking for your mission or your impact or how they can be part of it. Beyond that, your website's also a powerful tool for learning about your audience. You get loads of really useful data by having a website, so you can analyze how people interact with your website by using that website data, and then you can better understand their needs and tailor your communications to them to be more effective. So I'm going to take you through a couple of really key principles to help you take your website to the next level, and our first key principle is simplicity. So a clear, uncluttered design helps your audience quickly understand who you are and what you do. So we really want to avoid overwhelming visitors with too much text. Use negative space, so that's clear space around your text and your images, and use images as well. You want to use them regularly on your pages to provide that visual rest, and keep your sentences short. And use subheadings. I recommend a subheading every 2 to 3 paragraphs. That really helps your reader, but it also helps search engine optimization. When it comes to your homepage, this should act as your gateway to your whole website. It guides people to the information they need. So you don't need to have everything on your homepage. You don't need to hold it all in one place. Instead, you can use it and link it through to those subpages. Once you've mastered this, you can then take it further by ensuring that each page has a single focused purpose, so something that you can measure. So think about which audience each page is meant for, and make sure it includes clear calls to action that help visitors to take that next step, whether that is donating or signing up or learning more. So let's take a look at an example. So here we can see that a homepage that is very clearly laid out. They've got that key information about who the organisation is front and centre. They've got a brief overview of their mission. At the top of the website is the menu bar, and that helps users navigate where they need to go. It's a really simple and nicely laid out menu there that's not overwhelmed with too much information. Right, next tip for you now, and this is to tell a story with your visuals. So it's really important to include great imagery. That high quality imagery is so important, as is your branding, and by that I mean your colours, your fonts, your logos. So adding powerful and high quality imagery is a really quick and easy way to improve your website pages. If you notice your web pages are looking a bit text heavy, adding photos and videos will really help to break this up and relay large pieces of information. Infographics can be another great alternative to communicate statistic heavy information in a nice way that doesn't overwhelm the reader. Images also help to bring your work to life and to build that really great personal connection between the viewer and your organisation. But if your visual files are too large, it will slow down your page load speed. And people's attention spans online are so short, if a page doesn't load quickly, they're not likely to wait around. So I advise keeping your files to about 2 megabytes. This usually results in a clear image that's nice and sharp without the file being too large. It's also worth being mindful of the number of images you have on each individual web page. If you've got loads of images on a page, the overall page weight will be high again, so that will slow down that page load time. Once you're confident that you've got a comprehensive website set up, you can then add relevant updates. So updating your donation page during your campaign periods with specific campaign branding and imagery is one really great way of doing this. You want to make sure that that page looks really appealing and that it's kept up to date, because this is the last page people see before they make a donation. So you want to make sure it's a really positive experience. So here we can see a lovely clear image on a homepage which instantly prompts a connection, but it's also really consistent with its colours and its fonts, which makes that brand identity really clear. And next tip, we want to make sure your website is easy to navigate. So a visitor should be able to find the information they're looking for within a few seconds of landing on your website. Like I mentioned, attention spans are short, so we want to make sure that information is so easy to find. And your homepage should include a short introduction to your organisation and your purpose, your key current campaigns and your biggest achievements, and then links to other pages with further details. And your header menu and your footer menu are also really key to optimizing your website navigation. These are the elements that are visible across all of your website, whatever page the visitor is on. So pin those in place so that they're always visible even as people scroll down the page. And on your header menu, your donation button is likely to be one of the most important places you want visitors to find quickly and easily. So you can make that really stand out by adding a border around it or using a bright, eye-catching color behind it. It's also worth remembering that visitors can land on any page of your website. They don't always come to your homepage first. So think about the user journey and make sure there's a clear next step on every single page. And it can be a really good idea to conduct some tests by asking some supporters to explore your website, seeing how long it takes them to find certain information. This is going to give you some really good insights. You can also use platforms such as Microsoft Clarity, which shows you a heat map of your website. So you can see where users move their mouse, where they click, where they scroll. And this really helps to understand what's working well, but also what might be proving a little bit more confusing for your website visitors. We can share a link to Microsoft Clarity in the chat for you as well if you'd like to explore that tool. So let's take a look at another example. So in this one, you can see they've got really clear menu options which are targeted at each of this organization's key target audiences. They have also got their donation button, which is really bright and clear. So at any point when somebody is feeling inspired to donate, they can find it so easily, they can click on it and make that donation. And the final tip from me for now is around accessibility. So always consider and reflect on how user-friendly your website is. How easy is it to navigate? Do the buttons work correctly? Is everything clear? Is the design clear? Is the font easy to read in terms of size, but also color contrast? And it's really important to include alternative text, also known as alt text. You want to include that on your images to make sure your website is accessible for everybody, regardless of abilities or disabilities. So this populates a description of the image, which is read aloud by screen readers. So really essential for ensuring everybody visiting your website knows what the images are portraying. And it also helps to improve your website search engine optimization too. And it's really important to make sure that the website works well on a desktop, but also on mobile phones and tablets, as a lot of people browse the internet solely on mobile devices. And there are some really great tools that can be integrated into your website to help with your accessibility. One is called Accessibee, one is called ReciteMe. We can share a link in the chat to a course we have on Lightful Academy called Digital Accessibility. And in there, you'll find links to those different accessibility tools, as well as lots more tips around digital accessibility. So we're going to take a look now at an example of a donation page that's really easy to navigate on a desktop browser. There's plenty of information without it being overwhelming. So it's just a screen record here. So you can see they've used that negative space around the text really well, lots of visual breaks. And they've broken the information up so it's nice and digestible. They've got clear calls to actions. So great layout there on desktop, lots of good color contrast. But here's how it looks on a mobile phone. So it's the same page, the same content. The information is all there. It's just been resized so that it fits really easily on a mobile device. So this is a lovely example of a donation page I recommend checking out for a bit more inspiration. So that's enough from me for now. I'm going to hand you over to Pilar to talk social media.
Thank you, Sabina. So let's move into social media channels. And actually, I would like to hear from you. And I want to ask you, when you are on social media, what type of content stands out to you? What do you like to see on social media? So type it in the chat, what kind of content you like to see on social media? What stands out? What makes you stop? What is it? And you see a couple of examples that I have here. So Francis saying video content, Esther, relatable content, Fawad, impact stories. Yes. So you see here a couple of really good examples of very visual content or video content as well. So Adriana, short video with good story that has a hook from the beginning. Great. So let's go a little bit more through what makes that content stand out for you. So this is all about taking you through some social media best practices, because social media, as you all know, is a really, really powerful tool to engage many different audiences. But there are many platforms, and many of you are using many of those platforms as well. So what we are going to be doing here is, instead of going to specific platforms, we are actually going to cover some general best practices. If you're interested in going deeper into each channel, we actually have a series of courses on the Liveful Academy, and we can post the links in the chat as well, so you can go through each of those channels. And of course, the benefit of social media is that it's free to use and the content can reach many people. But of course, there are many channels, and many of you have more of one channel now. So how do you manage to manage all these multiple channels, right? So the first thing to think about is your personas. So think about your audience personas in order to choose the right channels for them. So where are they spending their time? And then be strategic about where you want to show up and how you want to spend your time. So sometimes when it comes to social media strategy, is more about deciding what not to do and then focusing on what you can do well. So it's better to focus on one channel and do it really well than to have many channels and basically try to do it well across all of them. So for that, let's see, how do you choose your channels? As I said before, is sometimes we want to be everywhere, and what I would recommend is that you avoid overcommitting, posting too often in too many channels. So think about starting small and then scaling over time. Think about how you can tailor content on one channel instead of having generic content in many channels. So one question to ask is, which channels make the most sense for my organization right now? And then focus on those channels, because probably you need to consider also the time that you have, the capacity that you have, the resources that you have to produce tailored content for each of those channels. So try to always go back to your goals and prioritize those channels based on what you want to achieve. So let's take a look at an example of how you prioritize channels based on a goal. So this is a great example where your goal, let's imagine that your organization's goal is to increase corporate partnerships. So you want to focus on reaching professionals that have an interest in social good. What becomes really clear is that LinkedIn is a really good platform because it's where decision makers spend their time. And another way that you can strengthen that strategy is adding content about, for example, partnership opportunities on your website. So it's really, really easy for people to find out how to engage with you in that way. So let's have a look at another example. In this case, your goal is to increase community engagement among younger local audiences. So in this case, Instagram can be the perfect channel because of its visual nature that allows you to tell stories, to showcase events. So Instagram will be the clear first channel. And then another way that you can complement it is having a newsletter. So creating a newsletter highlighting local activities, opportunities to get involved, and then having also information on your website in terms of having a section, a page on how to engage with your organization, whether that is volunteering, signing up to an event, for example. If you want to go deeper into how you create a social media strategy, we have a great course on the Liveful Academy called How to Create a Social Media Strategy, and we'll post the link in the chat as well. So let's now go through some basics. So first of all, you need to get the basics right. And what this means is ensuring that all your social media handles, page names, profile pictures are really clear and really consistent, so people can find you really easily. The idea here is that you are recognizable. So your organization is recognizable. So when they see your content, they instantly know it's you. So for that as well, it's important to think about the names of social media and your website, and to keep it consistent so people can search for you really easily, and also it makes it really easy to remember. Then you have your bio. Your bio is a great opportunity to share your mission statement, also to have your key organization details like your contact details, your location, and also having a website link. Now, sometimes we want to have more than one link. We want to have multiple links. So for that, you can use Linktree, for example, or link in bio. So that allows you to have different links in one place. And then I want to talk also about pin posts. So pin posts are a great opportunity to highlight who you are and what you do. So think about it as a homepage on your website. When people land on your Instagram page, if, for example, it's like a homepage. So at the top, they will see your latest campaign or something more about your mission and what you do, your programs, etc. So it's really clear at a glance who you are and what you do. It's also, as I said, a great way to showcase your latest campaigns. And with that, you can also use stories and highlights to, for example, highlight events or progress of your campaigns. Let's have a look now at an Instagram example. So you can see exactly that on this Instagram page. As soon as you land, it's very clear what they do. So they have the about information, they have the link, then there are some story highlights about particular points of interest, and they also have pin posts about their latest campaigns. So when you think about creating content for social media, you always need to think, I need to create content that is going to drive an action. So always aim for an action. So whether it's something big like making a donation, or whether it's a smaller action such as engaging with my post, like comment or share. So every post should be aligned with your goals, and that goal should align with a clear call to action. So you need to direct people and tell people what to do after they engage with that post. And then it's about also tailoring your post to specific channels and specific audiences. So think about who is reading my posts on these different channels. What do they want to see? What's most likely to engage with them? And each channel will have unique audiences. So it's important to tweak and customize your content accordingly as well. And whilst regular posting is very important, you don't actually have to post every day. Find a schedule that works for you and keeps the engagement with your followers. And also, some of you already mentioned video. Using short video to increase your reach is also very recommendable. So let's now have a look at another example of a post. So this is a post from Mercy Corps. And this clearly showcases the impact of making a donation to this organization. So perhaps in this post, perhaps they created this post in response to barriers that they know their audience face when donating, but it's a great way to showcase information in a very visual way, as you can see here with the different images. Still, they have a very clear call to action in the copy of the post, encouraging people to give. And finally, I want to talk about community as well. So social media channels, sometimes we can forget and treat them as broadcast channels, but really are a great opportunity to build a community, to engage with people, to get them to share insights with you and at the same time share more about your organization's values, your personality, the people behind the team. So what is important when you are on social media is that you engage with people. So you respond to comments and messages quickly, And this also helps you with the algorithms, by the way, because as you reply to comments, that will show that your content is engaging, so more people will see your post, you will reach more people. You can also prompt audience engagement by asking people to comment and to share. And once you are confident with all of this, it's probably useful to come up with a clear plan about what you will do if people start, for example, sharing spam content, offensive content. So you will need to have a plan to see how you're gonna support your community and how you're gonna also protect them in these cases. Let's have a look now at another example of doing that. So how to involve your community. This is an example where an organization has created a post with the specific goal of gaining insights and contributions from their followers. So you can see that they have lots of comments. And in this instance, it will be important that the organizations goes through these comments and reply to each of these contributions, whether it's answering a question, acknowledging the comment, etc. And with all of that, so with all of that information we have shared about websites and social media channels, we are going to start with the live review. So please share your links in the chat. So it could be a link to your website or to one of your social media channels, and Sabina and I will be reviewing them live. So let's have a look at the chat. Yes, you can. Yeah, we have some already.
Yeah, I'll start, shall I? Looking at some of these
Yeah.
links that have been shared first, but everybody else, you keep your links coming in. So let me open up this first page that's been shared with us. This one's from Teach for Afghanistan, and it's a LinkedIn page. So let's see. First impressions are we've got it updated with your branding, which is brilliant. We've got that instant recognition of who you are, supported by your name, and you've gone kind of double-barreled here. So you've got your actual name and the abbreviation, which I guess is helpful if you do sometimes use that abbreviation. One thing I'm thinking about with this branding, with your logo and this image here, is they're quite small, especially the text on them. I think if I was looking at this on a phone especially, it might be a little bit hard to read. So I would say, especially with your logo, you want that to be really easy to see the detail of, so that people can see it in their feed and they instantly know it's you. So maybe I would try, it's always really useful to use your logo as your profile picture, but maybe zoomed in a little bit would give us a bit more detail. Let me get rid of this survey and let's take a look around in more depth here. So we've got this overview. It's populated with information about your organization, which is great to see. Really good to give that introduction into who you are, how long you've been established for, what your mission is. Brilliant, great, love to see that. And you got your locations populated too, really helpful. Then if we go and look at some of your posts. So let's see. This first post's got a lovely selection of imagery. It really grabs attention. And I'm just going to translate it because I've got not good language skills, but this one is telling us. Okay, lovely. So details about an activity that's taken place and a visit that's happened. And the purpose of it, you've got the initiative, hoping to improve the quality of teaching. Great. It feels like this is telling a lovely story. Maybe the one thing that I think is potentially missing is it's definitely made me want to know a bit more. So it's really introduced me into this. I want to know more about all these people and the difference you're making in their lives. So if this was to include a link to read a bit more about this on your website and the impact that it's having, I think that would be really interesting and definitely makes me want to follow a link and find out a bit more information. So I would always recommend with every post thinking about what the purpose of that post is and how an action can be taken that aligns with that purpose. So if it's to learn more information, sharing a link to your website would be really helpful there. Here we've got another post. So I can see it looks like you're posting in a mixture of languages, which is a great strategy to have if you have got an audience who is using different languages. It's always worth thinking about who your primary audience is and what is the most accessible language for them. But as you can see, the built-in translation features on platforms like LinkedIn are very effective. And I like how you've used this bold to kind of grab attention. Every child deserves the chance to learn, dream, build a better future. Yeah, lovely. It's definitely making me want to know more again. I think that's maybe a theme that's coming through in your posts, is that it grabs attention really well. It's good use of language and imagery. I just would like to know a little bit more about how we can do that. So I feel like I could be part of that mission. So it leaves me wanting to know, what is the next step I can take? Can I read an impact report, or can I make a donation? So let's maybe take a look at one more example, and then we will hand over to Pilar for the next one. New ways of teaching for better learning. Brilliant. Again, this is really interesting. I'm interested to know about these different methods of teaching that are being used and the people who are enjoying it. I just feel like I want to know a little bit more. So that definitely is my takeaway here, is that don't be afraid to give a bit more information, to take people through to that next step with a call to action to find out more, to be involved in that work that you're doing. Sorry I haven't got more time to go into more depth on this one for now, but I'll hand you over to Pilar for our next review.
Okay, so let's review our website now. So this is a Global Fund for Children. I was just having a look, and the colors, the visuals are obviously very, very impactful, as we were saying before. So it's very like clear branding, very consistent branding, and good image, like really good mix of images and typography, actually. So we have a good navigation here. So the information seems to be very well organized, even though, for example, here, when we go to our work, you have a lot, but it seems to be directing people to the right places. So it's fine because it's really well organized. Or when I'm wondering here, and this is always something that happens, so there may be justifications for that. So you have our work, and then you have about us, and sometimes I wonder whether those things could go together. But in here, I think you have so much information that is good. If we scroll down here, you have a clear statement about your mission, and also a link to your global impact study. Then you have some stories, again, very well organized. I feel that there's a lot of content, but it's not necessarily overwhelming, which is good. And also here, I noticed that you have the donate button at the top, but also here you have the opportunity to click and donate from here too. And more down here. Okay, so let's have a look. I think there was something here that I was thinking about. So you have this navigation menu, and then you have at the top like a secondary navigation menu. And I have seen that before. I wonder if it gets a bit lost. I mean, I noticed it, but I wonder if this gets a bit lost. For example, Knowledge Library seems like a good resource. So I wonder if this would need a space on the homepage to guide people to, or a way to guide people to it, because it feels a little bit, that it is a little bit small and at the top, and people don't tend to go here so much. They may go for like a search functionality or the language. Donate button, I think it's fine. I was wondering if it could be a bit more prominent, perhaps a bit bigger. It sounds like it's a simple change, but here I feel it could be a little bit bigger. You could make more of an impact from that donate button. But in general, I really, really love these little icons in terms of how they are directing me to go down and to explore more. Yeah, I think it's really, really good in general. I don't know, Sabina, if you have anything else to add.
I was just thinking that the visuals are so fun on this homepage. They're really telling a story, aren't they? Esther, I can see you raised your hand. Did you want to say anything?
Yes, thank you so much for the feedback. I just wanted to ask a question. So what we have been doing like for a very long time is, for example, if we have something new that we want to bring people's attention on, we change like, for example, the copy on the homepage. Like, for example, what you can see right now is leading people to learn more about our recently launched global impact study. So I just wanted to check, is that good practice? Because then, for example, if someone visits our websites like 2 weeks from now, it will not look the same because we might have the original copy for this specific section that we are seeing right now is usually a bit about what we do, about the organization, how we partner with organizations around the world to provide them flexible funding. But that keeps on changing, and it will soon change.
Okay.
We are going into our end of year campaign. So I just wanted to check, is that something that is good practice or yeah?
Yeah, it's good. There's some alternative to that, which is having a slider. And I don't know, depends on the functionality of your template. So having a slider means that you can have one slide that is always the same. That is, for example, your general slide, which is about your mission and introducing the organization. And then you can have one or two more, like three is completely fine, about a campaign that you're running at the time, or for example, the impact report in this case that you have here. So you're able to have one that is always the same and then update the other two. For example, if you want to highlight something specific. So it keeps balance between the consistency and for everyone that lands on your website. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it does. Thank you.
Good. So shall we move into the next one, Sabina? Yeah.
Sure, I've got one ready to share. Actually, what I've also got ready to share is a website that has an example of a slider on it, so I can show you just what Pilar was talking about. So this is my old organisation, the National Trust, and they've got a slider where they've got 3 different kind of key priorities across the top. So 1 can stay the same, 2 can be updated on a regular basis. So I hope that helps to see that in action. And then let's take a look at Adila's website. So I've gone to the homepage, and I think this that has on my screen now has come up with a pop-up because it's taken up my whole screen and it's kind of overlaid the homepage, but I can navigate in and out of it, which I think is a really interesting tactic to do. And pop-ups can be really effective to grab attention, and you can be very specific about setting them up. Like you can set pop-ups to display for just new visitors to your website after 5 seconds of landing on the website, for example. So a really interesting strategy to really grab attention. I suppose my thoughts on this are, because it takes the whole screen up, as a first-time visitor to the website, I thought at first that this was the homepage, and I was a bit like, oh, this is an unusual layout for a homepage, and I'm not quite sure what's going on. So I think rather than taking over the whole page, if it could just take over the middle of the page so you can still see the borders of the website behind it, that would kind of be a bit less confusing. But let's take a look at the actual content of it. So it's an urgent appeal. So it's grabbing attention with this headline, which is really useful to see. And you've got this call to action button at the top to download the report to read more. And then you have got quite a lot of information here. So I would say we urgently ask for, there's an awful lot of text. So I would think I would look at how to pare this text down a little bit so it's a bit less overwhelming in terms of the amount of information, and perhaps adding in some imagery or a video that's going to help to tell the story a little bit more. And perhaps also even bringing the recommendations, what you're urgently asking for, up a little bit. Like I said earlier, people's attention spans are quite short, so you really want to front load it so that the most important information is at the top of the page and then supporting information is underneath it. So I think leading with what the situation is and how you want to change it and what you're asking for, and then supporting that with a bit of information would kind of keep people's attention and drive them to the action that you're looking to see. Let's take a look at the actual homepage too. So here we are on it now, and I can see we've got your menu across the top. Earlier on, I mentioned it's really useful if you can pin a header menu in place so that as you're scrolling down the page, it's still visible. And here we can see it's disappeared. So if it's something you often need to speak to your website developer about, it's not such a straightforward fix, but it can make a big difference to help navigation. And then there's quite a lot of items on this menu. Between like 5 and 7 is more what I would recommend. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus donate, plus language. So maybe if we could look at how to condense this down, so it's got maybe 1 less. Oh look, I can see events is duplicated. So if we just had 1 events instead of 2, that would free up a bit of space and make it easier to navigate around. And I think maybe we're missing an image here. Feels like this is your prime real estate on your homepage. It's where people's attention is most likely to be seen. So leading with a really strong image behind this message would help to grab attention and tell that story visually. But great that you're introducing who you are and what you're here to do in front and center and taking people to know you a little bit more. Let's take a scroll down a little bit more. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I don't know if there's a bit of a formatting error, but like seeing these underscores and the way that the text is kind of spread out on the corners of the page and Vision P, it looks like there's some formatting errors. I can see, Hassan, that you're working on it still. Yeah, glad to hear that that's kind of work in progress, because that feels like it's a little bit confusing at the moment. But the kinds of content that you've mapped out here to include your vision, your goals, your mission, these are all the important things to have in this position on your website. So just adding a bit more detail to these, linking them through to a relevant subpage as well, where you're going to go into a bit more detail. That's the kind of thing that will really help it there. This is a lovely way of getting across your impact and showing just the difference you're making in so many different places. And great to have that call to action to know more and by subscribing to your newsletter. Lovely. Thinking, is there anything else I'd want to see on a homepage that isn't there already? Great to see some impact statistics. So if you can add a few impact statistics, that would help to really build trust. And maybe even a quote from a service user or a beneficiary or a partner, that also helps too. And like I said before, just having a few button links taking you through to these subpages will be amazing as well. Brilliant. Shall I hand to Pilar for our next one?
Yes. Actually, I'm gonna share something that we don't share often, which is a YouTube channel. And because I thought it could also be a great learning opportunity for everyone. And it may be the YouTube channel that someone said is kind of work in progress, or silently using it, I think it was mentioned. But I thought it's a good opportunity. So what we see here, I know that this channel is probably not being used all the time, because I see that you have 6 videos. So there are a few things that you could do, right, to improve it. So first of all, let's have a look at the way this will look on mobile. So on mobile is where people tend to consume YouTube the most. So what you can see here is that the banner at the top becomes really small. And why that is important is because when you think about this banner, think about the text that you have in that banner and whether it's going to be readable. So maybe making it simple and more visual, maybe making that image more prominent, and not having like that much text will be a good thing to do for that banner. Then if we look at the about section, right? So it's very similar to what we were saying for all the other social media channels. Here, you could have your website here. So here I see that you have the same URL as the YouTube channel. So this is an opportunity to have your website here, to drive traffic to your website, and also to highlight the key information. So your mission, your programs, maybe even a call to action to donate as well. Then in terms of the videos, think about how these covers that you have, it's great that you have the covers, by the way, these thumbnails could create some consistency as well. And then on YouTube, you also have the opportunity to create playlists. So as you have more videos, you can create playlists based on different programs that you have or different regions, depending on how your organization is kind of structure in that way, or what you want to highlight. You can have it by themes as well. So that's a great way to get people engaged into different videos. Now, when you go to home here, you see it's empty. It says it's empty because you can choose to have a video for your home. So this will be a way, again, to organize it. A lot of what happens on YouTube is about organization and how you structure your content. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this to the forefront because it's something that we don't see that often, and we didn't cover so much. But yeah, over to you, Sabina.
I'd love to see that example of YouTube. Amazing. Okay, so I've pulled up a Facebook page because I don't think we've looked at one of these yet. So hopefully you can now see that. This one is Space of Peace Organisation. And first impressions are, again, great use of branding. But I think similar to what Pilar was just saying for that header image, there's a lot of quite small text here. So again, if we were looking at this on a mobile phone, it would be a bit on the small side to read. Also, with the layout, the profile picture is cutting off this information here. Whereas you've got your URL and your email address here, but those can be captured in your about information. So I think I would move this bit of text to the right-hand side where this is at the moment, make it a bit bigger so it's easier to read on mobile, and then that would be lovely. But nice use of this header image to show kind of the breadth of your work, which is great to see. And then as I scroll down, you can see here is where you can add your email address, your website link, which you have done. So that's covered and people can click on these, which they wouldn't be able to do just in an image. So a nice functionality too. And great to see that you've populated some intro into who you are and what you're doing, which is lovely. And all of these details under about are really great to have populated too. Adds to that transparency and builds trust. And then we can see it's translating for me because it wasn't originally posted in English, and it's automatically done that for me based on my location. And if I expand and see a bit of detail, let's see what's going on. Oh, one thing before I go too far is that if we had any pinned posts, they would appear here where this most recent post is. So I always do recommend having a couple of pinned posts. You can pin a post that's about who you are and what you're doing, about what your top priorities are, your programs. Those are really useful for people who are new to your organisation and come into your Facebook page for the first time. But let's take a look at this one here. So you're letting people know about your work and the kind of why behind it and the how behind it too. So lots of great information here, which I can see you've kind of used emojis to break up all of this text, which is a really pretty way of doing that. I would personally use a bit more line breaks, so have a bit more space amongst the paragraphs too. And really interesting to see all those hashtags here. I would say with Facebook, hashtags don't add very much to your posts. They don't really work in the same way as they do on other platforms to help people who are following hashtags find content. And actually on Facebook, people can find them a little bit jarring. So I would recommend only using them very sparingly. Perhaps if you were posting about a particular campaign you were running that had a campaign hashtag, or you were doing something for International Day of something or other, then using that hashtag will help to be part of a bigger conversation. But it looks like you're getting lots of likes, which is fabulous. Let's take a look at one more. So we've got a vacancy. Great use of an image to grab attention here. And then if we see here, we've got a lot of detail about what this vacancy is. It'd be really interesting to think about your audience on Facebook as to whether they are your potential staff members too. LinkedIn is just the platform that tends to be where vacancies are advertised. So that's what I was thinking there. Great. We've got lots of likes though, so your audience are clearly into it. Yeah, something I'm noticing is we've got a lot of likes and reactions, but so far not many comments, maybe 1 or 2 comments on posts. So having lots of comments on posts really helps to build community, as Pilar was saying earlier. So I would have a think about how we could prompt conversations in your posts too, maybe by asking questions of your audience. Then you can build that conversation, respond to those comments and help really build that feeling of community. I've just seen the time and I realise I'm rambling on and we haven't got very much time left. Pilar, do you think we can squeeze in one more? What do you reckon?
I'm gonna try to squeeze on an Instagram example because we haven't done that. So let me just go Instagram. I'll try to be brief. So this one, a really great art of a child Uganda, I imagine. So we have a great bio. So we have here in one sentence describing your mission, and then we have here different links. So we have a link to the donate button in Global Giving, also a story that I imagine is connected to the campaign that you are running at the moment, and also a story on your website about this other person. What I think is missing here is your website home, like the website homepage as well. So if you have the possibility of adding one more, it will be great to also have your homepage. Then the highlights. So I see that you have loads of highlights, which is great. So now the next step here will be, how do you add consistency for your brand, and how do you make your brand really recognizable on this page? By maybe having some covers that, through icons or like kind of visual cues, allow me to understand instantly that this is about empowerment, or maybe your learning center, I think it is, and also try to fit it in what is going to be seen. So for example, if this learning center, maybe you can just say learning, or something that allows us to know instantly what it is as well, because sometimes it's not, the whole thing doesn't fit in it. Then I see that you are using one pin post here. So this is a current activity that you have going on at the moment. Again, you posted your mission, I noticed 4 days ago, I think. So it will be good to have it ping at the top for the future too. But I'm just going to stop now because I realized that we only have a couple of minutes to go through next steps.
Hopefully you can see the next step slide on your screens now. Is that working? Maybe someone give me
Yes,
thank
it's working.
Okay, let me whiz you through these next steps then. So we've really just scratched the surface of our tips and trips and principles to adhere to when it comes to different digital channels. So there's so much more that we can learn about this, and we can really go deeper reviewing all of your channels too. So what we would recommend on Lightful Academy is we have a course called on social media auditing, and it takes you through an exercise step by step with the help of a downloadable template to help you to review and take action to improve your pages based on what you're learning on Bridge. So we'll share the link to that in the chat for you, and I would definitely recommend that as a next step. And then other next steps that we recommend are to discover some tips related to your different digital platforms in our Lightful Academy courses. We'll share the links to those too. And do book in for one-to-one digital coaching calls, because in those we can do in-depth reviews of your different channels, of your website, so we can go into a lot more depth than we've had time to do today. You're also reminded of your different Bridge communities. So you're part of our global Bridge community. You can join us on Facebook, where we've got Bridge participants past and present from all over the world. And then you have got your dedicated WhatsApp channel too. So you can connect on WhatsApp and network and share campaigns and carry on the conversation after each of our live sessions. Going to launch our final poll for today. It's up on your screens now, and let's open up the floor to your questions. Any questions that you would like for us to answer, please do post them in the chat or raise your Zoom hand and come off of mute, and we would love to answer them for you. And if you do think of any questions after we've ended the call, do post those in the WhatsApp group, or you can email us at support@lightful.com, or like I said, book in for one-to-one digital coaching calls, and we can answer all of your questions in those in-depth reviews. But do post any questions you have in the chat, or feel free to ask them aloud. I can see we're at the end of our time now, so I will let you all go and enjoy the rest of your days. But thank you everybody for joining us today. Really enjoyed taking a look at your pages, and I hope you learned lots too. Looking forward to your upcoming one-to-ones. If anybody does have any questions they haven't had a chance to finish typing, we'll stay on the call for another few minutes. But feel free to leave, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.